All right, here's a picture of me. Let's go ahead and get started. Today's presentation, for me, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite systems that's included in MetaStock. And we're going to make it a little bit interactive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you come up with some symbols that we can look at. And we'll just look at the charts that you have. So, today, what I'm going to be talking about is one of the built-in methods to MetaStock called the Rahul Mohindar oscillator. So if you have some stocks that you want to look at, throw them up there now, and we'll get to them. So in any case, I'm going to read this again because I want a chance to go through it twice today. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. We're getting some symbols. Okay, that's great. Okay. So the official title of this presentation is called 3 Steps to a Successful Trade. We're going to go through the PowerPoint real quick. We're going to jump straight to the chart, going to talk about that. But there's a few things that I want to cover first in case, just to kind of introduce myself to you a little bit. I've been working MetaStock for MetaStock. In March, I'll complete 21 years. Pretty crazy, right? Yeah, I kind of, it's been a great job though. I started in inside sales. So if you had questions about MetaStock and you called in 10 or 15 years ago, you very likely would have gotten me. I would have asked you questions about like what you're trading and like how you thought you could improve and all that kind of stuff, and really kind of talk to you a little bit about what the product did. For the last, I don't know, 11 or 12 years, I've been in different roles in the business development team, and that's been really, really incredible. I've done things like help John Bollinger code stuff for MetaStock, or Dr. Elder get his add-on ready for MetaStock. Almost everybody that spoke today have a relationship where we talk to that guys, and that in and itself is very, very cool. A big other part of my business is we have a lot of international partners and distributors that help us sell MetaStock outside of the US. And it takes me outside of the country, mostly like to Europe or Middle East, sometimes Asia, Pacific. We have a huge user base in Australia. And I'd say that out of everybody that works here at the company, I probably have the coolest job. It's been a lot of fun. So to tell you a little bit about MetaStock and just give you a little bit of the company history, we've been in business since 1982. I started in like 94, 5, something like that. And when I started, we were owned by Reuters, who eventually became Thomson Reuters. And a few years ago, back in 2012, so 6 years ago, we actually purchased MetaStock back from Thomson Reuters. And we still have a really good relationship with Reuters. I know Don, if you were here for Don Fishback's presentation, talked about how much he liked our real-time news and delivery, what we call MetaStock Zenith. And I know Brian, the guy that talked just a few speakers ago, really used Zenith. But we still have a really good relationship with Reuters. It's been a very good separation. What it's allowed us to do is retain all of the news and data that's available. All of the stuff that they offer, and all the exchanges that we offer. So what that means for you as a customer is if you like that news and that information, you want to have a good broad market view, you can get that from us. And generally, it's stuff that's available and priced at an institutional level. And it's been available from us at a very retail-friendly price point. In addition to that, it also means that if you get MetaStock and you're in India, for example, you can get data for India, or you can get data for Australia, or you can get data for London. Reuters is incredible in the data that they cover. They cover over almost 200 exchanges. globally. So if you're interested in forex, if you're interested in commodities, if you're interested in currencies, if you're interested in name it, you'll be able to get it in MetaStock. So one of the things I also like to talk about is the fact that we've been rated #1 in our price category by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine for 25 years in a row. So, and there's a lot of things, I want to keep today's presentation a little bit light because it's the end of the day, but there's a lot of things that I could talk about MetaStock. Primarily, the main things that MetaStock does as a product is allows you to scan markets, to ignore the opportunities that don't exist and find the opportunities that do exist. It allows you to test trading ideas and see what's profitable on what stocks, things like that. We have a really cool methodology in there that allows you to forecast probable price activity and price movements and all of that. In addition, with real-time alerts, commentaries, and signals, starts at $59 a month. So it's a very, very powerful program. Today, I'm just going to spend maybe 20, 30 minutes talking to you about one methodology that's in the program that I like a lot. So that's we're going to kind of, and the reason I kind of say it that way is we're going to kind of just microscope in on it. We're going to kind of just show you something that I like quite a bit, and that's the RMO model. Okay, there's some really specific reasons that I like it, and I'll get into that more in just a little bit. It is, in fact, the first model that I ever used to actually start trading, and for that reason, I like it. So I'll get into the other reasons that I like to show it. I'm sure you've heard like the trend is your friend, or befriend the trend, or rising tide lifts all boats, or something along those lines in the marketplace. And RMO is a trend following system. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is how to identify, the primary, short-term, and intermediate trend in a market, and how to make trades around that. Okay, using the RMO model. Okay, RMO stands for Rahul Mohindar. Who's Rahul Mohindar? Glad you asked. Rahul Mohindar is our dealer in India, and he does a lot of. He runs about 5 offices in India, maybe 4. And basically his office is what he does is he brings people in India and teaches people how to trade. He does a lot of work on CNBC and CNN India. And kind of the reason we started to kind of give this model away is he was in our office, like I'm going to say 12 years ago or so, maybe 10 years ago or so. And we asked him, he's a very successful dealer of ours, and we asked him to show us a little bit about what he was doing and what he was teaching customers. And what he ended up showing us was this RMO model that I'm going to show you today. We liked it so much that obviously we bought rights to it. We've included it in every version of MetaStock since. And so that's where RMO comes for. That's what it stands for. Okay. Now the reason I like to show it is because there's a lot of things that I like to show in MetaStock. This is the reason I like to show it today. Aside from the fact that it's the first method I actually used to start trading with many, many years ago, it's generally very, very easy. It's 100% objective. It employs solid money management. It works on pretty much anything that you're interested in. I've shown it to people that are in India on Indian stocks. Obviously, it works well there. That's where it was designed. Shown it on Australia, Saudi Arabia, you name it, and hundreds of times here in the US. So, and it's very, very simple. It's a 3-step process. So, and obviously if it's a trend following system, it's going to have some trend components to it. Are we bullish or are we bearish? That kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and switch into MetaStock right now. I've got it ready to go. And we'll just look at a couple of the symbols that you guys kind of chatted in there a little bit. Okay, BCC says, I'm ready to look at your 3 steps to success. All right, let me go ahead and just, obviously this is something else we were looking at. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down this commentary window. So to do that, and what I'm gonna do, is hope this, okay. View, expert commentary, we'll close that down. And let's just go ahead and close this chart as well. We'll close down this, this chart as well. And we'll close this one down. Okay. And we'll look at some charts that you guys put in here. So what do you guys got for me today? Okay, looking at the, oh, if you guys have questions, there are still quite a number of you, and but ask as we're going through. If something's not clear, let me know. If you guys have questions, I'll do my best to get all the questions and that kind of stuff too. Okay, so here we go. Just going up a little bit in the chat, trying. Okay, Wynn. Wally asked for Wynn, W-Y-N-N. And I'm pretty sure with Reuters, we're going to need to put a .o after that. BNS, CAT, W. Okay, that's all we're going to have the chance to look at today. So we'll just take the first four that came in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply a template. Okay, so this is the charting tab of MetaStock. Okay, again, any instrument that you're kind of interested in, you're going to be able to find in this list. To open up the chart, if you want, you can find it on a list. Okay, and I'll just show you kind of how that looks real quick, because usually the lists that you'll be working with are in this public online data list. Okay, so you'll see that they have Asia coverage. In all, we cover about 381,847 instruments in MetaStock, which is fairly incredible. But if you're in Asia, you want to follow something in Asia, there's a huge list of Asian stocks. Like, I'll just expand it out a little bit. You'll see New Zealand, you'll see Australia, you'll see Bombay, Calcutta, you name the exchange, it's probably on this list. Same with Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Again, the coverage Reuters offers is incredible. North America, we break things out in, so if you just want to scan on ETFs, you can, or optional mutual funds, you can, et cetera, et cetera. And we also have lists of all the major index constituents in case you want to scan against just the S&P stocks, test against just the S&P stocks, that kind of stuff. We will be mostly dealing with charting today, but this is a scanner. This is our, we call it the Explorer. It allows you to scan through a big list of stocks, like, for example, all the ETFs, and find the best ones today. This is our tester. It allows you to test trading ideas. And this is our forecaster here. And we won't really have the time to talk about all of those tools, but they're there. And they're very, very good. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to open up Win, BNX, CAT, and WLK. Over here where it says attach, I'm going to apply a template. And when I apply a template, it just allows me to set up the chart with all of the indicators that, we're going to look at the same time that I open up the chart. You can type in as many symbols as you want up here. We're just going to do 4 today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to find the ARMO trade model. I'm going to go ahead and open these charts. We'll go ahead and pull in the data. Looks like I did get a bad symbol in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that request. But we should be able to see the 3 that worked. Okay. I maybe just typed in that other signal incorrectly. Maybe not. So we've got Westlake CHM, we've got Wynn Resorts, and we've got Caterpillar here. Okay, and obviously we're going to kind of focus in on just one of those for now. So I'm going to go ahead and look at Caterpillar. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down to the questions so I don't miss any. BCC, there are sector lists. There's a lot of there's a tool in there that's called Sector Stat. BCC says, do you have sectors? We do. But we also have tools that actually break down some of the sectors for you. We won't kind of get into that today, but it's definitely covered. Chandri says, do we get access to foreign country data as part of your subscription? The way the subscriptions are broken up, like, so if you're doing the DC subscription to keep things easy for you, you'll generally do what's called a regional subscription, and it'll cost you about $59 a month. That'll include North and South America, plus the futures, plus the commodities, or it'll include Europe, Middle East, and Africa, plus the futures, plus the commodities, or it'll include Asia Pacific, plus the futures, plus the commodities. If you want to add a different region, you can. And for that, I believe it's about $30, but you can chat online with our sales guys to confirm that. It's a good question. BC says, well, what are we looking for in the chart? Okay, let's kind of get on with it. Let's talk a little bit about what we're looking at. Remember, this is a trend following system. And so what we want to be able to do is identify, well, the trend, right? So, and with Rahul, the way he teaches this is he's going to be looking at kind of the trend with 3 different measurements, what he calls a primary, an intermediate, and a short-term measurement. And you can also translate that to be long-term, medium-term, and short-term. They basically mean the same thing, okay? So what we're going to do first as step number 1 is we're going to look at, well, this indicator right here. I'm going to make it full screen for a minute. This is what he calls the Rahul Mohindar oscillator. And this is your primary trend measurement tool for the long term, okay? The way you read it is actually rather simple, okay? If the reading is above 0, which right now it's sitting at about 18, if it's above 0, then you're going to be, long term, you're going to be bullish, okay? If it's down below 0, like it was back here in March and April, of not even this year. I think this was well, this was March of last year. It's obviously not March of this year, but then the long-term reading is going to be bearish. Okay, so it's that simple. It's either bullish because it's above 0, or it's bearish below because it's below 0. Okay, so and with Rahul, he's very, very specific. If it's above 0, then you're bullish. If it's down below 0, then you're bearish long-term again. He does say very specifically, size and shape doesn't matter. So it could be down here above 0, you're still bullish. Could be way up here above 0, you're still bullish. Okay, so it's very, very simple to read. We're either bullish or we're bearish. Okay, right now, obviously with Caterpillar, long term we're bullish. Okay, and you can see that on the chart right here. If you look at the ribbon, there's just a ribbon that kind of plots on the chart at the very bottom that says your RMO ribbon is currently bullish. Okay, so that's step number 1. Are we long-term? What's our outlook for this chart? Are we bullish or are we bearish? Okay, in this case, we're above 0. It's telling us that it's bullish. So right, as long as the trend is strong to the upside, well, we're not going to short. That's kind of primarily the rule. This is an allowance system. If it's above 0 long-term, we're allowed to go long, okay? And we're not allowed to go short, okay? That's all it is, okay? So notice I said allowed, because just because it goes from here to here, we don't necessarily go long. We want to kind of have the verification. This is a 3-step process, okay? But if we're just looking at that from a chart perspective, we've been bullish since April 5th of 2017. Okay, so since April 5th of 2017, looking at Caterpillar is what I'm looking at, right? Yes, Caterpillar. Basically, we haven't been allowed to take any short positions, and during that time period, obviously the stocks went from $94 to over 167. So already what we're doing is we're saying, okay, what's the strength of the market long term? And let's not trade against that strength, okay? So that's step number 1. And I'm just going to go back into my PowerPoint and talk about it. Step 1, we identify that primary or that prevailing trend, okay? I'm missing a slide here. But it should say if the primary trend is bullish, you're allowed to buy, you're not allowed to short, and you're not a trader. So as you guys might have guessed, where is my missing slide between here? We're missing just one slide, okay? But step number 2, what we want to do is once we determine what our long-term trend is, we want to then identify what the short-term trend looks like, okay? And so let's go back to the wind chart here. I'm going to actually maximize these 2 indicators here. I'm going to change the style of one. So with MetaStock, the way you change the style for one is you just basically select it on the chart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a line because I prefer to look at this blue line as a line and not as a histogram. That's just my personal preference. By default, it's a histogram, but if you double click on it, you can go in and change it to a line. I like to look at a line because it allows me to see the cross, which will be important in a minute, okay? But what the indicator that we're going to focus on right now is the kind of the pink purplish indicator right here. There's probably a technical name for that color. I'm going to call it pink purple. Okay. Now you'll notice that this indicator has a little bit more of a tendency to whipsaw around. It generally pulls back a lot faster when Caterpillar starts to go down in this case. And simply put, it's just because it's a shorter term. We're looking at the shorter term trend. Okay. And so if we're looking at, and we kind of read it the same way. So with this short term trend, basically, if it's above zero, then we're going to be bullish short term. If it's bearish, if it's below zero, then we're going to be bearish short term. It's that simple. Okay. And we're also want it to match with our long term trend. Okay. And the way that he draws this on the chart for you is, as long as this swing trade number 2 is up above zero, you're going to have blue bars painting. Okay. So short term, this has been fairly strong for since about April of last year as well. You can see that all of these bars are basically blue ever since April. The Caterpillar's really been kind of in an upward tear. Our short-term trend, as well as our long-term trend, have both been bullish, and for quite some time. When the short-term trend dips below zero, you can kind of look up here and see that, or you can also just take a look at the red bar. Okay. So if we're kind of trying to make a decision on Caterpillar today, we could look at step number 1 and we say, okay, well, we're bullish long-term, we're bullish short-term, and that means we're still allowed to buy. Okay. Again, step 3 is where we actually start to take positions and kind of cover our losses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, we're just allowed to go long. Okay, these have to match. If they're both bullish, then you're still allowed to go long. If they're both bearish, you're allowed to go short. And if they don't match, basically you're allowed to wait. Or, you can run a scan in MetaStock. I told you that that's possible. And if you really want to take a trade, we'll find a trade where the short-term and the long-term trend are matching, and that you have a signal on, because you want to be able to improve your odds of having a more successful trade. And you can absolutely run a scan for this to be bullish and this to be a blue bar and not a red bar. That's a scan that exists in MetaStock. Okay, so let's go ahead and just recap to where we're at. Step 2, identify the short-term trend. If the primary trend is bullish and the short-term trend is bullish, you're allowed to buy. You're still not allowed to short. And then you just reverse it. If they're both bearish, then you're allowed to short and you're not allowed to long. And again, it's not a trader. Okay. And the next step, if they don't match, then you're allowed to wait. Okay. It is about going into the market when the momentum is going to be in your favor. And by following these rules, I found that most of the time it's going to give you a more successful result. Okay. So now we're going to talk about what triggers you into the market, what's going to give you the buy signal on the chart or the sell signal on the chart, and how that kind of plays into the market. So to do that, I'm going to go back into MetaStock here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the difference between the short-term indicator, what Rahul calls swing trade number 2 and swing trade number 3. Okay. And the way that Rahul reads this is, if we have a sudden sell-off in Caterpillar, what's going to happen is right here, we have a very bullish short-term trend. But let's say we have a rapid sell-off. What's going to happen is the short-term trend is going to fall rather quickly. Okay, it's going to fall, in fact, more quickly than the medium-term trend. Okay, and when that happens, then we're going to basically, when this cross happens on this chart, it happened between this bar and this bar. When it happens on the chart, that's what Rahul calls a shift of momentum, or a change of momentum, or a change of force. It basically is a chance for us to start to get a little bit more cautious, because this thing is starting to sell off. Okay. Now, that's actually where we take our signals, is where that change of momentum or that change of force happens. So if I come back onto the chart, you'll notice when that shift in momentum or that shift of direction happens, actually there wasn't much of a sell-off here, but there was enough to kind of give us a sideways movement to start to give us this sell signal. Okay, this is actually a valid sell signal, but we want to use it in conjunction with our trend signals. So if we're looking at Caterpillar 4 days ago, Well, we're not going to take a short position on it for the very simple reason that we're bullish long-term and we're bullish short-term. So what would we even be thinking taking a long position? So now we have started to see kind of this peaking activity. If we start to go bullish, both long-term and short-term, we could go ahead and take a short position. Generally, that could happen. Most of the time, what will happen in a trend that's as big as this time, big as is on this chart, is very naturally the stock will run up. Sellers will come into the market, and you'll get kind of this sideways action, and even a little bit of a pullback. A new support level is, and it starts to shake up, which would give you a new change of direction to the top side. Okay. So in this particular case right now, we're not going to do anything. We're going to wait till that shift of momentum occurs to the top side or until the trend changes. Okay. But I want to be able to show you what we would do. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to kind of show you how you would look at this on some historical signals and kind of how you would go in and kind of evaluate them and change them. Okay, and to do that, what we're going to do here is we'll just kind of focus on this area where we went from bearish to bullish. Okay, so we'll put on the way back machine. What we'll do is we'll pretend that it's April 4th of 2017. We come in and we look at the chart. We get that change of momentum, which issues a buy signal on the chart, but we don't buy. And the reason that we don't buy is because we're bearish long-term and we're bearish short-term. We have a red bar here giving us a bearish short-term. We've got a red trend ribbon, which is telling us long-term it's bearish, so we're not interested in buying. Well, until this day, that is. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of take a look at this day. We come in here and look at it the next day, and what happens is we kind of have a bit of a different picture. The stock has gone up. Long-term, it's gone into a bullish phase, and short-term, it's gone into a bullish phase. Okay, so now, whereas on the previous bar, and this is a daily chart, you can use this on whatever time frame you want, but now all of a sudden our outlook is completely different. We're bullish on Caterpillar, and we have that change of momentum yesterday, and so what we want to do is we want to be able to structure a trade. Okay, now Rahul is really specific about the way you're going to do this, so I'm going to do my best to actually kind of just show you exactly what he teaches. Okay, on the day where you're deciding to buy, I'm going to take my horizontal line right here. I'm going to look at the high of the current bar and the high of the previous bar, and I'm going to say, okay, well, this is higher. Okay, very easy to do. If today was higher, we'd be going off of this bar. But what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of a horizontal line, and we're just going to leave a little bit of white space. Okay, this is going to be our our last confirmation. If it crosses up above this price, we're going to go ahead and buy Caterpillar. Okay. I'm also going to take the horizontal line right here. I'm going to look at for a recent low. Okay, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put, again, just a little bit of white space below it. And so my rules now are pretty simple. If Caterpillar penetrates this upper resistance, I'm going to buy it. Okay, because I think it's going to start to go up at that point. Okay, if I get into this position because it crosses up above this resistance area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately put in a stop loss, okay? And that's going to be right here at 90 bucks. So 90.79 will be my stop loss. My entry signal will be 97.68, okay? So it's been a long day. I am not going to try and guess what exactly that is, but if it was 193, it'd be about 7 points or 7%, okay? It's not quite that. But immediately I know that if I enter at 97 and I try and get out as close to 90.79 as I can, I immediately have a pretty good idea of what my risk will be. Not my exact risk, okay, but a pretty good approximation of what my risk will be. Why not an exact risk? Well, what happens if the stock gaps way down? Well, then I'm going to have a larger risk. But in normal scenarios, I'll be able to get out fairly close to this 90.79 level. And so I have an approximate risk of exactly what my risk reward ratio is going to be. Okay. So now we've got kind of the framework for a business plan set up. Again, we want this additional confirmation because a lot of times it starts to give us strength, and then it just goes sideways and then starts to go down. We want it to show some strength. We want it to penetrate through that resistance area. Okay, so we end up waiting 1, 2, 3 bars. Okay, it opened down below this area, kind of worked its way up, and got us in. We could probably get in fairly close to 97 or whatever this line is. I just wrote down 97, but it was 97.07 is the actual line value that we use. We immediately put a stop loss in here. Again, it's going to be about 7% down. This is not a negotiable number. This is kind of where we're going to get out in case we're wrong. Again, it is a little, one of the reasons I like this is it's very, very specific about the money management, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to hope this goes up. We get in here on this bar. It doesn't go up. It starts to go down a little bit. It doesn't hit our stop loss, but it goes down enough that it signals kind of this change of momentum or this change of direction or this change of force. And we start to get a sell signal on the chart, or we don't start to, we get a sell signal on the chart, okay? Now, when this happens and you're in a long position, you're going to start to pay a little bit more attention, okay? Because if your RMO goes bearish and your short-term trend goes bearish, all of a sudden you have a little bit of a different picture for this stock. So, and then in that case, you'd be looking to reverse the position instead of staying long. Most of the time, you'll stop out on a stop loss. The way this system works, once in probably about maybe 20% of the time, just guessing it, you'll actually get out because everything reverses on you. And that's a wild guess. I don't have any numbers to back that up. Just personal experience with this system. So I'm being totally straightforward about it. Okay. But again, a lot of times the stock will pull back a little bit. It has a natural exhale, if you would, and then it starts to go up again as kind of buyers come back in to the market. Okay. And then what happens is it does go back up to about where we bought it. We issue a new buy signal on the chart because now that change of momentum and that shift in momentum has come to the top side. Okay. Here's what you do when you get that shift of momentum or that buy signal when you're in a long position. You just reverse all of these rules for short. Okay. Usually you'll have this shift of momentum when it's the stock has actually set a new support level. Okay. Maybe it's had a run up and it's come back down a little bit, but usually it'll be because just there's a bit of a sell-up, which is natural. Okay. So whenever you get a buy signal, it means that sell-off has occurred. The stock has actually made a new support area. Okay. And we anticipate that the stock is going to start to go up. Okay. And Rahul says when this buy signal comes in, there's a couple things that you can do. He says you can buy more stocks if you want to, like you could double down on your position in Caterpillar. I don't like to do that personally, but the one thing that he says is not optional is that whenever this happens, we want to move up our stop. So I'm going to grab my horizontal line in MetaStock. I'm going to look for the lowest level right here, which I'm going to say is right here. And I'm going to put a new stop loss right underneath it. So now I've got a new line in the sand, okay? The very next day it gaps up. And then we start to kind of repeat the process all over again. We come back down. We have that shift of momentum or that shift of force, okay? Still goes up a little bit more. In this case, we're going to go ahead and move up our stop loss because we here to probably about right here, okay? So there's our new stop loss. What we're looking to do is we're looking to take kind of large chunks out of this trend as we can, okay? What happens here? Well, we stopped out, okay? We got in this case at about 97, and we got out roughly about 98.56, okay? So we made a little bit of money here. Unfortunately, the stock then, as happens, starts to go immediately up, okay? And it looks like particularly with Caterpillar, it's choppy enough that with RMO, it's not going to work out so great. But we are going to be looking to take a couple of trades right here. We would have gone long here. We wait for the breakout. It doesn't happen. We set up a trade right here. We look for the breakout. It happens. We go ahead and take a long position that comes back in. Okay. We take a little bit of a loss here. Okay. But you'll see as we kind of go through it, what happens is the trend starts to stabilize on Caterpillar in this particular case. We buy here and we put in a stop loss here. We move it here. We move it here. Move it here, and then we stop out of it. So what we're allowed to do, here it gets a little bit sideways, but I bet if we kind of went through every single trade, which we don't have time to do, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking out large chunks of profit during this huge dramatic move upwards. Okay, here we made about 7%, but here you're going to make some money. Here you're going to move up a stop, and you're going to take large chunks. Right here in just this last move, if we had been long or moved up a stop right here, the stock moved up incredibly for us. So the idea here is to not take a hugely aggressive approach, put our stops in the right position so that we take advantage of the larger overall primary and intermediate trend. And I bet if we went out trade by trade through this, we'd be up fairly significantly. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of the other examples that you guys came up with me. This is Westlake. And we're going to go a little bit quicker because I hope you guys understand exactly how the model works. Okay, again, with this sideways, we would have churned out a little bit. And you're never going to be right all the time. Right here, ever since June 28th of 2017 to the current day, we've had a massive run up on this stock. It's went from, let's say a close of 65 to close of 100. It's doubled. Okay, take a look at the trades though. Let's say we would have taken a trade here and put a stop here, moved our stop here, moved our stop here, moved our stop here. We would have, well, actually that looks really good. Okay, so let's say right here we kind of got into this position. Okay, put in a stop loss right here, which we would have moved to here, which we would have moved to here, which we would have moved to probably right here, where here's where we had a pivot low. Okay, well, we actually don't. We haven't moved up our stop yet because we wait until the buy signal comes in. So right now, our stop loss on this open position is going to be right here. This thing looks like it's starting to come up. We'll probably move our stop to right here if we get a buy signal in the next day. So on Westlake, this has worked great over the last couple of years. We bought our position at 65, it's 114, and we're looking to move up our stop right now. Our stop loss right now is at about 82 bucks. So let's look at the last example, Wynn Resorts. Okay, not as clear of a trend here. It's definitely a lot more sideways activity, but it has gone up. The whole chart is kind of angled up, and for the most part, we've been bullish for this whole upwards trend here. Right now, we're in a long position, and but again, if you're kind of looking to follow the rules, the stock has actually went up from 99 to 200. It's doubled in value. And I would say, I would argue, without going through every single number and every single trade, that if you're looking to only take long positions and take chunks out of that 100% gain, it's going to be an effective system for you. It's a great time to trend trade right now. It really is. So I don't know, what did we make, like 20, 30 new highs last year, new all-time highs for the record. So BC asks, if the blue arrows mean buy, the red arrows sell? No. The blue arrow means buy. So right here, if you're looking at Wynn just a few days ago, you can buy. But the thing that you want to keep in mind, BC, is if is it bullish long-term, which you read on this ribbon right here. It is bullish long-term. And is it bullish short-term, which is done off of this. So it is part of that three-step process, if you would. Okay. All right. So there you go. That is, again, one of my, I love to show that system. And again, the reason I like to show it is I could spend an hour with you and I could show you all the tools in MetaStock, like system testing or scanning or, you know, and I probably will do a webinar specifically for you next week on that. But the reason I like to show that to you is because it's something that you can use right out of the box. It's very simple. It's 100% objective. And my belief is something that you can start to use right now to make better trades tomorrow. Okay. So MetaStock, we've got, again, two versions of MetaStock. We've got the DC version. It's $59 per month. We've got the real-time version. It's $250 per month. The offer that we're doing right now is you can buy 1 month of MetaStock and get 2 free. So if you're going for the DC version, right now it's January 28th, that means you pay $59, but you're using MetaStock February, March into April, okay? Basically, you're getting a cost of about $20 per month. With the real time, you can do the math on that, but it's our ability to kind of let you try the software at a very, very low risk. $20 a month is nothing, okay? That way you can evaluate it. Why has this thing been rated every single year #1 in its price category? What can it do to help my trading? It allows you to figure that out. I'll be the first to admit it's a huge toolbox. There's so much stuff in MetaStock. One of my favorite comments that I get is, I use 10% of this thing and the other 90% is there in case I need it. And I can't remember who exactly said that to me, but it's about finding the parts of it that are going to work for you. But since it's a toolbox, we want you to understand how to do what you're going to want to do. So we're going to include Unleash the Power of MetaStock. And this will walk you through how to chart, how to apply your indicators to a chart, how to use the power tools in the power console. It'll show you how to run the back testing and kind of test different trading ideas to see what worked best the last year, the last 5 years, or the last 10 years. It'll actually even go through the RMO, so it'll show you exactly how those indicators work. And it'll even show you kind of, if you have the real-time version, how to get access to that really good news and fundamentals that are available in the real-time platform. Normally that's $100, but honestly, we always include it for free because we want you to understand how to use MetaStock. It's the reason that we have so many customers that are so loyal to us. And by the way, thank you for the 30% of you that actually use MetaStock. I appreciate it. Okay. I would encourage you to do the toolbox because we had some great speakers today. Don Fishback got in earlier today, and he talked about his very unique way of looking at stocks that have coiled up like a snake and that are breaking out, and how you can use those with volatility neutral strategies. So you get that as part of the toolbox. You also get John Bollinger's Bollinger Band Toolkit, 3 months access to it. You'll still get the Unleash the Power of MetaStock, and even if you just do MetaStock, you'll get the boot camp that I'm going to sit down with you, and we'll spend an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours going through MetaStock, and I'll show you how to get the most out of it. I'll show you all the power tools and how they work, okay? You'll also get Unleash the Power of MetaStock, which is that $99 retail course that I just showed you. Normally, if you bought all that separately, it's $921. Here at the Summit, if you do the end of day version, it'll only cost you $399. If you want to do the real-time version, it will only cost you $590. And again, with that, you're going to be set for 3 months. You can use the platform, you can play with it. If it's helpful for you, that's great. You can join our loyal customers. To take advantage of this, give us a call. The phone number is 800-882-3040. You can visit us online. We do have some reps that can go in and answer questions for you. The address to use is metastock.com/sales chat. Okay, give it a go. There is a reason that it's been rated #1 for 24+ years in a row. I need to go up and add up. It's over 23. It's like 23, 24, 25 every year, I think, since 1992, including this year. Okay. So again, the phone number for that is 800-882-3040. You'll be glad you tried this out. 800-882-3040. Metastock.com/sales chat. Okay. A couple last thing, and then I'm going to look at the questions. It's my daughter's birthday today. We're going to go do a birthday party. Thank you for Modern Trader for supporting us today and their sponsorship. If you haven't done so, take advantage of the 4-month free trial with no credit card required. So let's take a few more questions. I want to thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if there's anything that you have that we could use to make these better. Ankit asks, is this RMO an additional add-on. It's included with the software and kit. So everything I just showed you is included as part of the package. You just can apply the templates. It's already included for free. Okay. You can do, Chandra asked, do I need real-time or DC? You can do either one, and it kind of depends on how actively you trade. Personally, like I use real-time. I love the access to all of that Thomson Reuters news and information. And but I could probably get away with DC kind of because of the fact that I work so much during the day. I typically am not trading extremely often because I just don't have the time. So thank you for that question. BCC asks, is this a download or is it web-based? It is a download. With all the stuff that we're doing and all the toolbox nature of everything, it's still better delivered as a download. That probably is going to change pretty quickly, though. Yundo asked, is it the RMO signals lags the market? Yes. Okay. I'm going to do my best to answer your question, Yundo. I think you're asking a couple of questions in one. Does RMO signals lag the market? And the answer is yes, they lag because it's a trend following system. So what is it looking to do? It's looking to trade in the direction of the trend. Your trend has to be established, okay? So it's never going to get you in at the low, and it's never going to get you out at the high. Just not feasible. What it's going to do is it's going to look for like these big 200% moves and help you take chunks out of the middle. Robert Deal is a retired now, but he's one of the guys that I just love to listen to. He was one of the best speakers I ever knew. He was the son of a preacher, and he could really just like get people fired up. But he was also a very, very good technician. But he'd love to get in front of an audience and be like, the bulls get slaughtered, the bulls make money, the bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. This is a trend following system. It'll never be exactly perfect at the top and the bottom. The idea is to trade and take good chunks out of a good trend. Okay. Link to Modern Trader. You bet, Anki. I think it's still on my clipboard. Nope, it's not. Let me grab it real quick for you. Because right here. Okay. And again, for that, when you go up there and kind of put in that, it may or may not populate the promo code that says promo. If it doesn't, just type in PROMO, all in lowercase, and you'll be on your way. Okay. Two people ask, what is the exit swing signal? I'm glad you asked, because I normally don't talk about it too much, but it is some indicators. Rahul, I don't use them personally in my trading, which is why I don't talk about them too much. But Rahul does talk about them. He says if you're trading with real time, you'll definitely want to use exit swing signal. And if you can even use it on daily chart as an alternate method for getting out of a trade. That's why I call it exit. So let me zoom in a little bit on this chart here, and I'll just kind of show you a little bit what I mean. Okay, we've had a massive run up on Win. Oh, looks like Friday wasn't so good for Win. Wow, that's like what, a 20, well, I guess it's a 23-point sell-off to the low, about a 20% or 20-point sell-off, about a 10% rundown in one day. The way this would work is if you're in a long position and this starts to go up, okay, what'll happen in an upward trend is this indicator is going to work itself up above this red line, and then it's going to start to taper off and go down below the red line. So if you want to implement this, if you're in a long trade and it comes up above this red line and crosses back down, you can start to implement a trailing stop. It's kind of the way that he recommends you use it. So it's kind of an early warning. If you don't want to wait until your stop is hit, you can implement a trailing stop that'll kind of allow you to get out. And the first time you'll start to get in, use that trailing stop in a long position is when it crosses up above the red line here and then down below. Okay. It's the same. The same is true, but reversed for short position. So if you're in a short position, it comes down and starts to cross up above this blue. Then you can look to use it as an exit. So thank you for that question. I normally don't talk about that at all, but it's an alternate exit strategy that you can use to enhance your exits. You're welcome, Rita. I'm glad you enjoyed the day. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to a birthday party, guys. I do want to say thank you for coming today, spending all day with me. I hope it was helpful for you. This is one of the favorite events that I have. Again, the phone number to call, 1-800-882-3040. They'll be here until the phone stops ringing. So I know it's been busy at different points during the day. I would encourage you to find out for yourself why this has been rated #1 for so long. It's such an awesome tool. I feel lucky that I get to work here. In any case, I do also want to thank all the good speakers that came in today and Modern Trader for sponsoring the event. And I will see you at the next event.